hello.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? Awesome.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
good.
so could you tell something about yourself? Introduce yourself quickly.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Holly Hebe. I'm 18 years old and I'm from Melbourne, Australia. I've been writing music for pretty much my whole life, but I've sort of been getting into producing the past sort of 3 to 4 years. And yeah, I study music at university, which is really, really enjoyable, sort of composition and kind of art music, that side of it. And yeah, kind of doing producing on the side is something that I'm really passionate about. So yeah.
Cool. So, what has been your first introduction to music?
Well, when I was 4, my mum was given a big old pianola for her birthday. And yeah, from there, I just started playing things that I'd listened to. Like my sister was playing recorder, so I'd listen to her playing things and then try work them out on the piano. And then yeah, from there I had piano lessons all throughout high school and just loved it. And yeah, that's become a big part of my life. That was kind of the start of it all. Yeah.
And did you only listen to piano music when you were growing up then, or did you also listen to other styles of music?
Yeah, I actually listened to lots of different styles. My parents were always good at introducing me to lots of different kind of influences, I guess. I wasn't super focused on the kind of classical side of music in terms of learning the piano. That was something that I just kind of never clicked with. So I sort of learnt the more contemporary side, and chords and improv and that kind of side of it all. So yeah, lots of different influences I think were really, really good for that.
Yeah, and at some point you started busking. What was
Yeah.
that like?
Yeah, I started busking when I was 8 at a
Oh.
little local market, just with my little 66 key keyboard. And yeah, I mean, I did pretty well for an 8-year-old. I think people just thought I was cute, so they would chuck me like $1 and things like that, which was really nice. But yeah, I've kind of been busking ever since. I have a residency now at a little local general store, which I go and play at when coronavirus isn't kind of around.
Yeah.
Hopefully get back into that. But yeah, it's a really fun way to just get my music out and I really enjoy it. So yeah, it's lots of fun.
Yeah. And what's one story that you remember from busking? Did you experience something cool or
Yeah, I feel like some people give me funny things. Like if they, I don't know, some people have accidentally chucked me like car wash tokens, or someone left me like a cookie on my keyboard one time when they didn't have money to give me. Um, One person thought, I think I was maybe 13 or 14 at the time, and one person thought I was like 8 and was asking me when I was starting school and things like that, and that was super awkward. But yeah, you have some funny kind of interactions with people, but yeah, it's a good way to kind of, I guess, yeah, get used to performing and being with different types of people.
yeah. So you've played in several bands. Are you still in some of them?
Yeah, so I play in a band called Blue Tuesdays, and we kind of do jazz and contemporary kind of, I guess, tunes for events and functions and stuff like that. And then I'm also in a duo called Velvet Dreams and the Submarines, and me and my friend Fox, we write lots of music together, and yeah, hopefully put some out in the near future. But yeah, that's kind of my two projects that I'm also working on the side, which is really lots of fun.
Awesome. And how do you experience making music solo and making music in a band different? How is that
Yeah,
difference?
I think solo stuff is a lot more personal,
Mm.
and I'm a pretty independent person when it comes to music. Like I'm pretty guarded with giving my songs to other people to work on. So yeah, it's a very different process. I think in a band we kind of all write, like if write together, or we do covers and things like that. And when I'm doing Velvet Dreams stuff, it's very collaborative. Like one person will be on the computer doing production and one person will be working on lyrics, and then we kind of swap and we're always bouncing ideas off each other. But I think solo is very, yeah, just a lot more personal and kind of to myself, and those ideas kind of just happen whenever, and then I whip out my phone and record whatever I think of. And yeah, so I guess the two kind of work well together, I think, in the end. Yeah.
Yeah. And is that also the reason for starting a solo project to get to make more personal music?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I definitely feel like I've always liked kind of the, yeah, kind of being with like yourself and the music side to it all. And um, yeah, playing the piano and things like that has always been like obviously such a solo thing for me. And it's become so much a part of me that I feel so comfortable there. And that's kind of, yeah, I guess writing songs on my own is very much a comfort zone thing. So it's really good when I can write with other people because it really pushes me and gets me to be a bit more vulnerable, I guess. But yeah, I definitely like the solo side. And because I can kind of be as crazy as I like and not
Yeah.
kind of make anyone feel a bit awkward or whatever. Yeah.
So you study interactive composition in uni. What kind of study is it?
Yeah, so that's a lot of it covers such a broad range. We do a bit of film scoring and animation scoring, and then lots of kind of responding to art and writing conceptual pieces. Um, and then, yeah, lots of kind of more abstract kind of music that I hadn't really written a lot before, which I really, really enjoyed kind of finding that side to music, which has been really, really fun. I think my favorite project that we've done has been probably working with film students and scoring one of their films and things like that, and working with them to see what their interpretation was. And yeah, it covers such a wide variety, which is really helpful.
Yeah, cool. So let's talk about your inspirations for a bit. Which musicians inspire you and in what way?
Yeah, I love James Blake. I think most of all his production style and the way he uses kind of organic samples, and then yeah, his kind of classic sounds that he just has in his songs I really, really love, and have definitely influenced my production side of music. um, Also Maggie Rogers, I just love how she started off sort of just being a singer and a producer, and that was kind of who she was, and that made her into kind of was a really great foundation for her. And I think that was pretty empowering. Because yeah, I guess there's not as many female producers
Yeah.
out there, which is something that is, I think it's really cool to see when like females are making their own music, which is really cool. So that was awesome. And also her type of singing and layering her vocals was something that after listening to her music, I started to experiment more with. And now that's become such a big part of my production kind of style. And then lots of kind of more contemporary piano people that I covered during like my high school studies and things like that formed like a massive influence for me with kind of the stuff that I'm writing for uni in terms of things that might not have a tonality or music that's a bit more abstract. And that was really, really fun to explore and something that I hadn't really thought of before. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. And besides those musicians, are there other things that inspire you?
Yeah, I think poetry and writing is definitely a big inspiration. I'm always reading like poetry books or abstract books that I pick up from like op shops and things like that. Um, and yeah, they're really cool to just read. And I'll often read one word, and that will kind of like trigger
Yeah.
an idea for a song or a concept or something. And so that's super helpful if I'm ever stuck. I'll just read some poetry or something like that. And also just sort of being outside and yeah, spending time, I guess, with family and friends. And then there's those little kind of events that happen, or and that kind of triggers an idea for a song. Lots of those little tiny things I often find kind of, I guess, an idea in, which is really fun to kind of dig out and see what I can do with it.
Yeah, and your bio says that you're always finding otherwise ordinary sounds from your environment to include in your songs. How does it go? Do you always have your phone with you and press record when you hear something cool, or how?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens. I have my phone, my voice memos are full with just random sounds that I find. Like often um, when we had uni before coronavirus, I would travel on the train every morning and always hear little sounds while I'm waiting for the train or something like that. And I'll just quickly bring out my phone and record them. And even if they don't turn out the best quality, I can often kind of manipulate them in some way and put them in a song. I especially love, I think in Sync, I recorded some like weird clicks and doors and things like that and chucked them in. And then in one of my recent tracks, I've got like a comb sound that like scraping a comb that I thought sounded really cool. And I was like, oh, I have to quickly record it on my phone. So yeah, I really like capturing those little moments and kind of putting them in my song somehow. I think it just makes it a bit more personal and kind of, yeah, it's a lot more your own work rather than, I guess, using samples or something off the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of reminds me of the music of Billie Eilish. She always has Phineas, and
Yeah.
she, while producing, they put those everyday sounds in it, like the traffic light and Bad Guy, for example. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
So before you release your debut single "Sink," you posted a song called "The Years We Lost" on SoundCloud, a song you wrote at home at your piano. Why isn't that song your first single?
Yeah, I think I was never gonna put that song on SoundCloud or do anything with it. I kind of just wrote it, and I think I posted a little snippet on Instagram, and I had some people messaging me like, "Oh, you should just do like just a little lo-fi recording of it and put it on SoundCloud." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I may as well start." And I'm so glad that I did that because before I hadn't really thought much about releasing music. It was kind of just like, I don't know, it just felt sort of too scary,
Yeah.
and especially with that song, is pretty stripped back and kind of, I guess, covers a topic that's a bit more personal. And I was like, oh, it's a bit scary to put out. But yeah, I ended up just recording it on my piano with my mic, and just sort of put it up on SoundCloud. I think I might end up producing it properly and hopefully putting it as a part of an EP because it's kind of, yeah, it's a really special song, I think,
Yeah.
for me, and I love singing it. So yeah, I guess it was probably just because, yeah, it was never something that I was gonna ever show the world at all. So yeah, it was kind of nice to put it out on SoundCloud as something, I guess.
Yeah. So "Sync" was released in September. A beautiful song. When did you start writing "Sync"?
I think I started writing it in about year 11 or year 12 at school, um, in a program that we had at my school that was teaching people like music production and songwriting and things like that. And um, I was initially just practicing, I guess, chopping up drums and making drum samples and things like that, and kind of found a quirky beat that I liked. And then that's kind of where the song came from. Um, I left it for a really long time because I sort of got to a point where it was pretty much finished, but I just didn't really know what to do with it or where to go with it. And then I revisited it at the start of this year and sort of cleaned it all, went back through it. And I was a lot more kind of clear on what I wanted to do with it and added a few things. And then, yeah, it was a pretty long process in the end, I guess, for a song. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out in the end.
And yeah, I can hear a bit of jazz influences in the song. You actually made a playlist on Spotify with songs in it that inspired Sync. There are some jazz songs in it, but all the songs have the name Sync
Yeah.
in it or something that has to do with it. Was that ironically, or were it really only Sync songs that inspired your song?
Yeah, that was just a bit of a funny thing that I wanted to add. I thought, like, I feel like lots of people, yeah, I just wanted to make my Spotify page a bit kind of lighthearted and
Yeah.
fun. But yeah, there's definitely jazz influences in sync. I played a lot of jazz in high school, during like in bands and things like that. And I love listening to it and things like that. Like if I'm ever studying or working, I always have jazz on in my ears. And I love playing kind of jazz on the piano and improvising. So definitely have had some jazz influences, and especially with chords and structures and things like that in sync. Definitely have some jazz influences in there.
Yeah. And what's Sync about?
I guess it's about finding someone that's sort of, it's sort of just teenage years and kind of relying on your parents to be able to do things, and then you're kind of finding your independence, and I don't know, finding someone that you want to spend time with and things like that, and all those kind of moments, I guess, about kind of growing up, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And what was it like to actually release the song? Because you said before that it was kind of scary to put your songs out there. What was it like when you decided to do it? And yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty scared. I think I sort of I just yeah went through, read heaps of articles about releasing songs independently and watched heaps of YouTube videos, and I was writing notes all the time because I just wanted, like, I don't know, reassurance that I could do it and that there was steps to go through. And then once I uploaded it to be released, I was like, oh wow, this is real. And then yeah, I think a week out I was pretty stressed and trying to hype it up a bit on my social media and things like that. And yeah, I think once I stayed up until 12 a.m. when it was released, and once I listened to it for the first time, I was like, "Whoa, this is so weird." And I think it's still so weird to have a song out, but yeah, it was definitely scary.
It's more than a feeling in the way that it goes. It's more than a fleeting hand tight in yours. And every time I see you, I'll think blood rushes to my head and I'll sink.
So every episode I play a game. I ask the artist in that episode to answer as many this or that questions as possible in exactly 1 minute to get to know them a little bit more. So do you want to try to beat the number one with 22 answered questions?
Ooh, sure, let's go for it.
Okay, I'll take my timer. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
let's go. 3, 2, 1. Singer-songwriter or band?
Band.
Dance or sing?
Oh, sing.
Headphones or speakers?
Headphones.
Pop or jazz?
Jazz.
Bridge or verse?
Verse.
Ed Sheeran or Dua Lipa?
Ed Sheeran.
Silence music or loud music?
Silence music.
Zeros or tens?
Ooh, dance.
Play music or listen to music?
Play music.
Digital or vinyl?
Ooh, digital.
Acoustic or electric guitar?
Acoustic.
Have Sigrid cover your song or have James Blake cover your song?
James Blake.
Upbeat or mellow?
Ooh, mellow.
Hits or album tracks?
Hits.
The Rolling Stones or the Beatles?
Oh, the Beatles.
Busking or music shows?
Busking.
Watch a music video or watch a concert video?
Concert video.
And time's up. You've got 17 questions answered.
Not too bad.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's shared 5th place. It's really
not
good.
Too bad.
Out of 10. So,
not too bad.
yeah. So I asked, for example, bridge or verse. I'm not sure what you said. But do you remember what you said?
I think it's a verse, yeah.
Okay, and why? Why did you choose verse?
I think because you can put your most kind of hard-hitting lyric content in verses. I think your chorus is kind of something maybe a bit more catchy and has a bit more of a rhyme scheme, and the bridge kind of comes with that. And then I think your verse is where you can really kind of dig into the meaning of the song and the lyrics. And yeah, I really love playing with lyrics. So yeah.
Yeah. And I asked you, have Sigrid cover your song or have James Blake cover your song? You said James Blake. What's the reason for that?
I think I just love to hear a male perspective and like a male voice. And yeah, he's awesome on the piano too. So I think it would be really cool to hear, even with like an organ or something. I think it would be so cool and just like be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been working on a track called Say It Back with an Australian producer and pianist called Ango and a guitarist called Coombsy. And the track was released on October 16. How did that process go and what was it like to make a song together with other musicians?
Yeah, it was really fun. I met these guys through uni and we gelled really well, I think, in the process. And because we were all in different places working on the song because we couldn't be together because of coronavirus, I think that made it even cooler. We sort of started with an idea. Ango sort of approached me and was like, would you like to sing on the track? And so, yeah, I kind of took it away and came up with a bit of a melody and some lyrics, and that was really fun because I hadn't done a lot of that before, sort of top lining. And then, yeah, we kind of put it all together and then got Coombsy to do an awesome guitar solo on it. And it was really fun because we'd send our version away and then to the next person and they'd work on it a bit and then send it back. And it was cool to kind of see how it changed, I guess,
Yeah.
over the time that we had it. And yeah, it was a great process. It was so much fun.
And what's the song about? Because you mentioned earlier your own songs are personal. Does this song have a more, well, universal message then?
Yeah, I think so. It's still, I guess, pretty personal, but I think I think it's definitely more of a universal concept. It's sort of about, I guess, maybe someone not reciprocating your feelings or something like that. And even though you're just expressing to them that you feel what you feel and like they don't have to say it back, it's kind of that along those lines. Yeah, and it's also pretty open for people to listen to it, I guess apply it to their own kind
Yeah.
of feelings as well. Yeah.
Don't feel like you have to say it back. Don't feel like you have to say it back. Don't feel like you have to say it back. Don't feel like you have to say it back.
So let's talk about your future. I saw that you were learning the drums. How's it going with that?
Yeah, my brother plays the drums, and I've always wanted to be a bit better at the drums than what I am. So every now and then I go up to where our drums are and have a bit of a play. I put some tunes in my ears that have a strong drum line and try and work it out. I definitely want to get a lot better at the drums. I think they're so cool.
Yeah, they are. So other than that, what can we expect from you in the near future?
Yeah, so on the 20th of November is when my next single is coming out. I'm pretty excited. This one's a little bit different to sync. And it's, yeah, I wrote it during lockdown and produced it sort of during the really thick part of lockdown here in Australia. And so that was a really good project to kind of keep me occupied. And I think it was a kind of good project to help me expand on some production techniques that I hadn't really, I guess, played with before. So I'm super excited for that. And then I've got a few collaborations coming out, hopefully next year sometime, with some other people that I've met through releasing music and all that stuff. So that's been really, really special, and I'm very excited for them all. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm excited too. So thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful.